Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is enjoying their Wednesday. Still no batteries for my light. Haven't been able to find them yet. Still. But I still enjoy the hat. Welcome, guys. How's everybody doing tonight? Got a little bit of a different kind of video for you guys tonight. Excuse me. If you've caught my show before, hey, Avery's in the house. She made it today. Glad to see you here. So if you've seen the show before, and what's up, Jim? How you doing? Watch shop. I mean, what's up? If you've seen the show before, I normally use a soil pipe cutter to crack open my geodes. Today, I'm going to be using one of these here, which can be acquired. I just went and picked this guy up at Home Depot today for about 12 bucks. Shiler, welcome to the show. Lee, what's going on, man? Sounds good. Sounds good. So like I said, using this guy to crack them open today. Not just this. We got a couple hammers. My trusty little silver one, which we might use. And then I got myself a Christmas present today. Look at that. Ooh, fancy. Ooh. Watch repair shop. Good to know. That's, yeah. I'll have to check. First time catching me live, Lacey. Welcome to the show. Stonebreaker, how fitting of a last name. I'm about to break some stones. Well, you're catching today's show, and it's today, South Central Iowa. Welcome to the show, Brian. So glad you guys enjoy it. Like I said, today's a little bit different. I'm going to show you guys a way that's a little bit more doable for most folks on how to crack open geodes. Let me get this set back down here. All right. So, first things first. This right here is a cold steel chisel. They're always going to be blue. I've never seen them in any other color. Axel, welcome to the show, my friend. I had to buy that hammer due to my wife buying me one for Christmas. You know what? Yeah, I had to. I was a little jealous. But I was at Home Depot and I saw these, and it was right next to all the hammers. And they had, thank you. It's an interesting topic for sure. I was getting my chisel and I was looking at the hammers, and they had, you know, S-swing or E-swing, however you say it. I say E-swing. They had those hammers, and I'm walking away, and like one bay over, I see that one. I was like, oh, I got to get this one instead. I was going to get like a little 2-pound mallet. Just something that would work a little better than the hammer I've got right now. But, alright guys, we will get going on this. First geode we're going to get going on is this one here. Chose this one because it's got a nice round shape, a typical shape you're going to find in a geode. So, you can see here, I've got a little bit of a groove here in the floor of my garage from all the times I've cracked these open. You know, before I had my soil pipe cutter, this was my preferred method of cracking these guys open. So my garage is used to it. So I've got a nice little spot. That's going to help have a nice secure place to start off, guys. That's going to be very important. Next important thing is your safety glasses, which mine always disappear after the show. All right. Got it. And then, basically what we're going to do here, guys, the goal here is with a geode, most geodes are going to end up being hollow. We don't really know until we get them open. But with cracking them open with a chisel, gives you an advantage over just smacking it with a hammer. So basically what my goal here is going to be, I'm going to find a line, and to help you guys out, I've got a marker here. So I'm literally going to draw a line. Julie, so glad you could make it. So just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see, I don't normally draw on my geodes, but I'm going to do it today for educational purposes. So when somebody tells you you're cracking a geode and you want to find a line to crack along, this is what you want. You know, you want to imagine something like this. You can draw a line on there if you want, but basically this is just going to be somewhere to guide my chisel as I work my way around it. Okay? So, we're going to get started. You're going to take your chisel, and in that line, you're just going to set your chisel on it. And starting off, you're just going to go very, very light pressure. Just a few taps, nothing too crazy in the beginning. You want to try and get as many angles on it as you can. Just a few taps, guys. Nothing too crazy. Just a few taps here and there. And what you're going to see here is over time what we're trying to do, what the goal is to weaken the geode along this spot and make it so that when it does finally split, it's going to have a weakened spot for that split to happen. So now I've gone around it once, I'm going to start to increase the pressure a little bit. I like to go just like a little 1-2. Rotate a little bit. And rotate. Now this way does take a lot longer than my normal method of cracking it with the soil pipe cutter. But if you do it the right way, in theory, you should have some good results. So everybody just tuning in, guys. We're working on cracking this geode here, and we're just going to use a hammer and chisel. My normal method is a soil pipe cutter, which makes it really, really easy, but not everyone's got one of those lying around. So far, I took a Sharpie and I drew a line here. That's going to be basically, oops, sorry. 1 second there. Basically, that's going to be where you want your geode to split. And then with our chisel here, cold steel chisel is going to work best. We're going to start working around that line with little bits of pressure and a few smacks, and as we increase pressure, yeah guys, go on and share this stream. I appreciate it. Get everybody in here. It's going to be some good knowledge. It's going to help out. So, like I said, we're just going to keep flip-flopping sides and smacking and getting harder and harder each time. And there we go, it's split. But like I said, this is the nature of geode, guys. We had that line, we worked it around, and it still didn't even follow it. It doesn't always happen. This one ended up being a little bit more solid, but we still got a nice split, you know. Now, if I was going at this with just a straight up hammer, even though it's pretty solid, odds are it would just crumble. So, that was the first one, guys. Like I said, in theory, doing it with this method, we want it to crack along this line. This one here just goes to show it doesn't always do what we want. You know, there's that line there, and you can see it cracked the other way. But it's still got a little bit of cavities in there, some quartz. All right, on to the next one. And this one I'll draw again on for you guys, just so you get an idea. So this is another geode here. This one's a little bit more egg-shaped. So I'm going to try and crack it this way just because it's going to make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go on here. Like I said, guys, I don't normally draw on the geode, but it makes it a whole heck of a lot easier to understand what I'm talking about, even with me doing it in front of you. It just makes it easier. So that's the line we're going to follow with the chisel. Alright, I'm going to mark it over here. like I said, find that line. First time, just a couple light taps. You pick it up, move it over, follow that same line. And in theory, we're just trying to give it a weak spot. So once we start to add some more force here, it's got somewhere to go and somewhere to break. So it's kind of like making a bit of a fault line. That's how I like to say. Now we've gone around once, so I'm going to start smacking with a little bit more force here. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody was trying to call me. My apologies. Hopefully everybody is still there. Now I say this is an easier method. That does not mean this is the easiest method to get open geodes. By no means is that what this is. This is just, if you don't have a few $100 piece of equipment lying around like a soil pipe cutter like I've got, if you don't have a saw handy, and you don't want to just smash into bits with a hammer, chisels are pretty inexpensive and they help out. Alright, my apologies if it gets super loud here for you guys. As you can see, geodes are tough. It may look really easy when I'm cracking these open with the soil pipe cutter, but let me tell you guys, that thing does a whole lot of the work for me. For everybody just tuning in, welcome to the stream, guys. If you've been here before, obviously this is a little bit different than how I normally do things, but tonight's show is a little bit more informational. We've got a geode here, like the ones I normally crack. Tonight I'm just showing you guys how to do it with a hammer and a chisel instead of a soil pipe cutter. So far with this one I've drawn a bit of a line here just to kind of give you an idea of where we're trying to get this geode here to crack. So that's what we're working on now. It's great to have a little bit of a divot. Yeah, I have much more. There's a lot. It's really good to have a spot. You know, I've seen folks that will use another piece of stone that's got a divot in it, or a piece of wood. Anything to kind of give you some anchor. You know, it's much easier than just trying to smack it around up here. You know, this is just going to roll around. Thankfully, what we're working with, most of the time, geodes have a nice round shape. So we've been working at this one a few minutes. We're going to keep going at it. And I just want to reiterate, this is an easier way to crack open geodes opposed to just a hammer. This is not the easiest way to do it. Alright. And for everybody curious, this is a Dasco Pro. Not that I'm supporting them or anything that. This one I just picked up today at Home Depot. Cost me $12. Also got this hammer there. This was a little bit more. This was close to $40. But it's a nice hammer. This is the hammer I normally use. I could do it with this hammer, but it's quite puny. Not very heavy. This one does the trick. Howdy, Tracy. How you doing? Welcome to the show. A little bit different today. Got the hammer and chisel out today. And this geode is not being friendly. It's probably solid, but another nice thing about this hammer, it's got a wedge on the end. So, in my case, I can also use this. This is almost like a chisel on here. So, I'm going to give it a couple whacks, just because this guy's being a tough guy. Woo! Running away. Alright. I do not recommend sitting there and holding it and whacking away at it. I've done this a lot. I'm not a professional, but I've got a little more training than most. This one I might end up just smacking a couple times. Michael, I have not forgotten about you, my friend. It's been a little crazy. Alright guys, this one, it's being a pain. I'm just going to smack it a couple times. If it doesn't crack, we'll save it for the end and I'll show you how much easier it is with my pipe cutter opposed to this at the end. Alright, giving it a few more whacks, guys, and if it doesn't go, then we'll save it for the end. Like I said, easier, but not always going to work, guys. We've been working at that one, I don't know, a few minutes, and it didn't go. I'm not giving up. I just want this. This is going to be a really great way. Yeah, this one's going to be solid. But this is a great way to show you guys just the difference. Yeah, I used the pointy end a couple times. Yeah, rude geode. I'll smack it a couple more times. But I'm not giving up on it, guys. This is just going to be, you guys see the amount of effort going into just this little geode with this method. And then at the end, if I can't get it, I'll show you guys with the pipe cutter and how much easier it is. Just that's going to be a really good example to show you guys the difference. I'm going to smack it a couple times at this end. Well, part of it cracked, but you can see it's pretty much solid. I'll still give it a try with the pipe cutter. Karen and Laura, welcome to the show. Lynn, welcome to the show. Alright guys, we're going to get on to the next geode. I'm going to show you guys this one here. Oh yeah, that one I'll use the pipe cutter on. This one's a little bit more flat, so this one is going to be interesting. But, keeping with the theme of tonight's show, since it's more informative than anything, I'm going to draw a line on it here to help you guys visualize what I'm trying to... Yeah, it's a pancake, but it's got a little bit of a rattle, so that's why I chose this one. But to help you guys visualize... Yeah, it looks like another turtle one, huh? To help you guys visualize what I'm following with my hammer and chisel as I'm flipping this thing and turning it, That's why I add that line there. I don't do it for everyone, just for tonight's sake. That's why I'm doing it. Now this one's a little bit wider than my little area here, but we should be okay. Now, for those out there that are interested in getting a chisel, they do have some. Terry, welcome to the stream, bud. How you doing, man? They do have some that have got a safeguard, a plastic guard. If you're new trying this, I absolutely recommend using a safeguard. I've been doing this for a little while. I've had the ones with a safeguard, and I like this one better. It's a little bit more mobile, especially when I'm out collecting. I can throw this in my pocket. You know, the one with the big plastic safeguard, I can't. But I've got a little bit more experience, so obviously I'm going to recommend the most safest route for you. So we'll get on with it, guys. We've got one geode that we've cracked so far this way that ended up being mostly solid. But we're going to keep going. We have another geode that just a little piece of it popped off, and we're going to save that one to crack on my pipe cutter here at the end of the show, just to show you guys the difference and how much easier that way is opposed to this method. So like I've got here is a blue chisel. This is a cold steel chisel. Cold forged steel chisel is what you want to get. They're always going to be blue. I just purchased mine today from Home Depot because I could not find my last one. I purchased mine today for about $12. And you don't have to have a rock hammer, but I would recommend it. It's a little bit more pricey than your standard hammer. If you don't have a hammer and you're just looking for something to crack a couple geodes, just go the route, get the chisel. And if you enjoy it, get something like this. But this has also got some more functionality for me out in the field. It'll help me getting stuff out of creek walls and things like that. So I got myself a little Christmas present. And here we go, guys. We're just going to start very, very little pressure. A couple taps. I normally like to get at least 4 sides of the geode hit, but obviously with these flat guys, that's going to be really hard to do. You know, it's going to be difficult to hang it here. But with my hammer, with the chisel end, makes it a little easier, so I can give it a couple taps. And I can flip it around and do the same thing over here. You know, what we're trying to do is follow this line as we're slowly tapping. Jasmine, welcome to the stream. How are you doing tonight? As you're following this line that I drew on here, you're just going to start off light pressure, just a couple taps, slowly building up a fault line, I like to call it, inside of the geode along this line here for it to crack. Alright, and then we're going to flip it over. Now this is not the most effective way to crack open geodes, guys. There are definitely easier ways. If you've seen my streams before, then you're familiar that I use a pipe cutter. Tracy, welcome to the show. How you doing this evening? Like I said, if you've seen my show, I normally use a pipe cutter. This is just showing you guys a little bit of an easier way. I get the question quite a bit, especially when people go the route of getting some geodes from me. So it's much easier to say, hey, check out this video where I do what I tell you to do when I type it all out. Now there's going to be a video for it. Alright, so we've already worked at it a little bit on either side, so I'm just going to flip-flop now. Smack it a little bit harder each time. These flat geodes can be a little bit more interesting. You do run more of a risk of it kind of crumbling on you, but sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, right? see that, Terry. Oh, it's for cold steel. Sorry, guys. Trying to catch up on the comments. Oh, cold steel. Okay, yeah, Jim's got some info. I don't know. I thought it had to do with something with how it was forged. And always, guys, eye protection is very, very... I opened up some geodes for the first time with my kids. Oh, 100 viewers. I know. I'm seeing it. It's crazy. All broken to little pieces. I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully watching me do it will help you a little bit from keep that from happening. But like I said many times before, this way is a little bit harder, but a little bit easier than just smacking it with a hammer. You know, this is trying to help control the way that the geode cracks open. And hey, look at that. That was a nice one. So, like I said, the theory is that it's going to crack along the line, but you can see here, that's what it did here. It's followed that line a bit. And there we go. It didn't give us a perfect crack, but let me tell you guys, this way, opposed to just smacking it with a hammer, even though it wasn't a perfect half, like I said, this isn't always going to be perfect, but that got pretty darn close to where we were following that line. Almost 6 in the morning here in South Africa. Wow, good morning. It's almost bedtime for me here in just south of Chicago. Yeah, this one is really pretty. Good to know. Yeah, pretty close. I'm glad this one worked out that way. Like I said, this is not a guaranteed method. This is just a method that has helped me before. But yeah, pretty nice one. And you can see this one was pretty solid too. So that chisel being there definitely helps focus all that. Man, 3 in the morning there in England. Michael, you're a trooper. Yeah, the pipe cutter is definitely comes in handy. All right, guys, we've got 2 of these little geodes here cracked. I've got 3 more here. And now I know, here, let me grab this for a second. I know yesterday I talked about today having some cleaning content, but I'm going to switch it up on you guys a little bit. Today I'm not going to show anything with cleaning. Today's just going to be showing these geodes here. I might grab a couple to crack with the pipe cutter. And Saturday, I am taking a trip out. I'm going to go and do some collecting Saturday. I'm leaving early. So my goal is, guys, is to get a geode from one of the places that I go and collect. And I'm going to show you guys the whole process. From when I take it out of my car, to when I clean the outside of it, to when I crack it open, and then clean the inside. So that's my goal, is Saturday I'm going to go out and collect, do my normal collecting, and then I'm going to try and find a couple really nice geodes to crack for later that evening. And I'm just going to show you guys from start to finish the whole journey of it. Like I said, from cleaning off the outside of it, cracking it open, cleaning up the inside, and so on. So instead of that cleaning tidbit being tonight, guys, it's going to be on Saturday. But it's going to have some more awesome content. And I get to go out Saturday and find some more stuff. So Saturday's goal is just going to be looking for big geodes. That is the goal. I normally go and just try and find some nice things. I'll look for geodized fossils. But this week's trip is just going to be dedicated to... Sorry. Oh, yeah. Geodes are awesome. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are excited for it. It's going to be fun. I'm going to find some cool things. I know it. Alright, this one's got a little bit of a wonky shape here, but we're going to keep going on with... I'm not too sure. Jim, are you free on Saturday? That's my question. I normally go south of Lake Monroe. I'm normally within like 30 minutes of Lake Monroe. I've got my creek, and there's a certain creek I need to hit because I talked to a buddy of mine, and he informed me that my big geode that I found, my 18-inch one, he said that he found its twin in another creek that's not far from where I normally go and collect. So I'm going to go see if I can't take a ride over there and see if I can find another big old geode like that guy, because that'd be pretty cool. Odds are it's not the other half of it, but yeah, I'm going to be down by you, Jim. I know you said you're in Bloomington. I'm going to be a little bit further south of Bloomington. But yeah, man, if you're free on Saturday, shoot me a message and we can figure something out. I'm not going to have a whole lot of time out there. I'm probably going to be getting there like 7 a.m. your time, and I'll probably have to leave by like noon your time. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry, my wife didn't know I was streaming. We had some groceries dropped off. Yeah, absolutely, Michael. I will send you a message after the show, my friend. I'm sorry. It's been a little chaotic. And my apologies there for my hands being all over the screen. Did not let my wife know I was streaming, and she was worried. I didn't want her to freak out and start calling. But here we go, guys. I drew another line. And we're going to work at this with a chisel and hammer. Where did the chisel go? Underneath me. Hiding under my feet. All right. Here we are, guys. Starting it off, like I said, like you've seen. Couple whacks, follow that line, light pressure. Just a few hits. And in theory, we're going to be creating a weak spot in this geode for that to finally crack open when we get to hitting it with some more force. Oh, sounds good, Michael. You have a good night, my friend. Hey, I see a meetup in the works. That sounds good to me, Jim. I'm all right with that. And what's actually really cool, you guys, the reason why Saturday's trip is happening, I normally, like I said, I was done for the season, but someone who didn't want to be named, I won't put his name out there, sponsored my trip. So he's covering the expenses for me to go and collect, just for the sole purpose of going and getting some stuff for the show. And so that's really awesome. So like I said, I'm not going to say his name, but shout out to him because he's making Saturday's trip possible. And his request was to find some nice big geodes to crack on the show. So that's what the goal is going to be. And like I said, it's going to be extra special too because we're going to find some and we're going to take the whole journey with him, from cleaning the outsides to breaking them open to cleaning the insides. So shout out to that supporter of mine. Yeah, shout out to that sponsor who does not want to be named, but you're an awesome person, my friend. And I'm very glad that you can vicariously enjoy a hobby that we both love through me and my content. It means so much to me. It really, really does. All right, guys, we're gonna start smacking this with the right. That is so awesome. Shout out to you, strange unknown sponsor to the other viewers, but I know who you are. And you know who you are. And that's all that matters. So thank you, sir. guys. Still working at this one here. And I will say again and quote, wish beautiful also in the UK. Right, there's some awesome people out there, man. And I also will, if I get to a point where the geode's being really stubborn, guys, and I'm still following along that line, like I just did there, buckle in, you know, get a nice spot and just a few nice strong whacks, and then I'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Well, it cracked a little bit. Yeah, I agree, Kara. I mean, I say speak your mind, you know, but do it with others in mind. But he's also from another side of the world where that word isn't as taboo as it is around here. Tracy, welcome to the show. Just working on cracking open some geodes here with a hammer and chisel, which is not always easy. Definitely is not the easiest method, but it's a lot easier than just smacking it with a hammer. When I smack it myself, you should use 2-pound hammer with chisel instead of brick hammer. Keep more fingers. Dan, I appreciate that. I've been doing it a while though. I haven't lost any fingers at least recently. The one good thing about the brick hammer is it's got that edge. This may be one that ends up saving for the pipe cutter. Oh, there we go. Another solid one. But but let me tell you guys, if I was just whacking this with a hammer, I appreciate that, man. I really do. But let me tell you, if I would have just whacked this with a hammer, there would have been a lot more pieces than just like that. All right, guys. Our next victim to try and get cracked with hammer and chisel. And again, for learning's sake, I'm going to outline the way I'm going to be hitting this, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys to see what's going on, especially while I'm whacking away with a hammer. My little guy awake in there. Must be playing with his stitch. Our next victim, yep. Ow, look at that. I'm sitting here working with a hammer and a chisel, and I'm fine, and then closing Closing the marker is going to be what pinches me and makes me bleed. Samantha, it depends on the area you're in. There are definitely areas that... Oh, let me grab this really quick. There are definitely some areas that are more known and more populated with geodes, if that's the right word. Lynette, welcome to the show. How you doing? Where I collect in southern Indiana is an area well known for geodes. If you can see, all back there, all on that shelf are all geodes I've collected. All in those bins are geodes. All over there are geodes, and in those bins, and in those bins, and this bin, and that other bin over there. So I've got a lot of geodes. It really just depends on where you go. Some folks are lucky enough, like me, to not live too terribly far from places that are loaded with geodes. Yeah, my back is not happy with me right now. Neither are my knees. I've got bad knees. So they're already screaming at me. But I'm going to power through. The good thing with this is if my knees start to ache or my back, I take out my frustration on the geodes. And Dan, commenting on what you said, bud, about the 2-pound hammer, that is what I had picked out when I went to the store to grab this chisel, because I actually lost mine, I believe, the last time I was out collecting at St. Leon at the road cut. But I had a 2-pound mallet, and I was walking out with that, and then I walked and I saw this, and I only had a limited budget. And I've always wanted one of these, and I was like, you know what? It's a few days away from Christmas, so Merry Christmas. So that's why I'm using this one. And... sorry. Got poked by a little piece of crystal. I said more than me. Yeah, I got a few. Alright, so doing this method, guys, first thing we're going to want to do, very lightly apply some pressure and rotate this little geode here. And as you work your way around the geode, hitting this line that I drew, you're going to increase your pressure. And you're going to start hitting it a few more times. I'm just doing, 1, 2, and then I rotate it a little bit and tap it a couple times and rotate. Shot press work. I don't know. Sorry, but so yeah, you're going to start with low pressure a couple times. As you keep rotating it, then you're going to increase the pressure, hit it harder, and more times. So I've worked it around a couple times, so I'm going to start giving it some more force. Still just the 2 hits. Ugh. And to everybody just tuning in, thanks for stopping by, guys. If you've been here before, don't be afraid. You're not on the wrong stream. You're not at the wrong person. I'm doing things a little bit differently just to kind of show folks some of the different ways you can crack open geodes. I said this is an easier way than just smacking it with a hammer, but it's not the easiest way. If you've seen the stream before, my typical and preferred method is the soil pipe cutter. But like I said, tonight's more informative, more of a learning experience for us. as you can see, this way definitely takes longer than my way. Mold it to a wedge and pressing against the solid object. Yep. Alright. Now one good thing about this rock hammer, guys, like I said, is it's got a little edge on it. I'm going to smack it a couple times here with this edge. See if that won't help out a bit. I do not recommend just holding a geode and hammering, especially with a wedged edge like this, if you are not familiar with doing it. I've done this many times. I am in no means a professional, but I do not want somebody getting hurt. Hitting up the admins and saying, hey, I saw him do it, he told me to. You know, that's not what I'm saying at all. Alright. This one, we got a really nice split. And again, this is another reason why. Deborah! No, don't be nervous, guys. Like I said, I've done this many times. No need to be afraid. So, Deborah, welcome to the show. Doing things a little bit different. But look at this one, guys. You can see where it cracked a couple times. It stayed on that line, but it stays relatively close. So this is a really good, another really good example of how this method is going to help you try and get a really nice crack without the really expensive equipment. So here we are inside. Another one that's mostly solid, but it's got some really pretty milky quartz that's a little dirty. But a nice one. And with how this one split, the end result, this isn't much different than how it would look if I were to crack it with my soil pipe cutter. So it takes a little bit more time and needs a little bit more elbow grease, but you can get similar results if you take your time with it. They're not always going to end up splitting this way. You know, this is one we were working on. You can see the line. You can see where it ended up splitting. You know. Rachel, welcome to the show. Just cracking a couple geodes here with this here chisel and this here hammer. Not the ideal hammer, as someone pointed out, as Dan pointed out, which I appreciate. Not the most ideal hammer for doing this. This just happens to be the best hammer I have. Sissy, how you doing? Great to see you again tonight. Not the ideal hammer, but it's better than, you know, this one. Than this one, you know. Yeah, Matt, it's a good investment, absolutely. Like I said, mine, I didn't buy. My brother got it for me, but I believe he got it for about $200, give or take. Which, if you've seen the price of the new ones, it's much. $200 is much more doable than $500 or $600. Excuse me, than $500 or $600. Sorry about that, guys. My apologies. I had a little condensation on my hand from the from my beverage, and it made my screen flip over to Reddit. All right, guys. This is the last geode I have here lined up to get smacked open with this method. Like I said, today's show is just a little bit different than normal. Chris Brown is watching. Oh my goodness. Chris Brown is in the house. And again, guys, like I said, I don't normally draw my geodes before I try and split them. But since I'm doing this to kind of help you guys see how it's done, this is really going to help you visualize what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So if this is something you want to try doing with your geodes that you end up splitting, by all means, go for it. My only problem with Asco chisels don't seem to hold up to wear and tear. You know what? I've only, in my time, I haven't purchased much chisels. This is the second one I purchased. I didn't destroy the first one. I lost it. So this is just the one that I got handy. All right, guys. Here we are. Again, my method here is this is the line that I talk about. You know, when we're working with a hammer and chisel, trying to open a geode, you're going to want to establish a line that you're going to want to follow as you're rotating your geode and hitting it. You know, you don't want to, your chisel's not going to do you much good if you turn it this way and smack it here, and then turn it this way and smack it, and you just kind of go all over the place. You're not doing much good. It's still going to end up busting and crumbling. Ooh, oh yes, always eye protection. Good to know. Now I'm going to make sure I don't bring this one out in the field with me. This will just be for fooling around at home. But here we are, guys. On with the show. Starting along that line. Just a couple taps. Very light pressure to start off. Keep following that line around. And another important thing. Oh, I may have to plug in here soon. Another important thing is I've got this little divot here, this spot in my garage that, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, before I had my soil pipe cutter, this was where I was always at, this position here. And that's why this spot has been worked down. But it's definitely going to help to have an anchoring spot. If you don't have a stone that's got a groove in it, if you don't have a piece of wood, you can always dig a hole in the ground. Just dig a little hole in the dirt, secure it in the dirt, and that's going to give you a nice hold on it. You know, it's much easier than trying to set it on flat surface and smack it. You know, it's going to be wiggling and wobbling all over the place. But if you have an anchor, I can push down on it nice and hard, put all my weight on it, and it's not going anywhere. I do that here, and you know, wobbly. So here we are, guys. Adjust my knees because they're old, and get on with it. I hope this one is a beauty too. But I didn't have quite as much time to prepare for the show this evening as I would have liked. But I think I grabbed a couple nice ones. And we're going to rotate it again here. Now it's nice when you have a nice round geode because then you've got more room to work with. You know, this one here I've got an odd shape, so with my little bit of a hole here, I've only got so many options where I can set it in and securely and safely, you know, hit it a couple times. All right. Adjust my footing again. Sorry, guys. And to those just tuning in, welcome and thanks for stopping by. I'm using a cold steel chisel here. Now they do sell ones with big plastic safety guards on top. I'm not a normal fan of that. I like to take chisels out with me in the field, and they're much harder to carry around. And I've been doing this a while. When I first started doing this, I absolutely used the one with the protection. You know, it hurts. This isn't a light. This is only a 22-ounce hammer. You know, but if you're using a 2-pound or 3-pound sledge, that is not going to feel good if you miss and whack your hand. So, starting off, I definitely recommend using one with a plastic safeguard. They're going to be right next to these in the aisle you purchase them in, wherever you're shopping at, whether it's Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's. They're all going to be in the same area. right. And we'll call that one done. We got a split. For the most part, the area that did split followed our line here a little bit. But what do I do with them after I open them? Oh, just wait, I'll show you. So there's another one, guys. And I know we've got a couple first time viewers here. So give me just a second here. And I'm going to just choose one here, guys. Just one. Because my battery's running low. And I'm going to do one my normal way of doing it. Not one that I worked on tonight. I'm going to grab a whole separate geode. Choose a nice one here. Yeah, we'll go with this one. Here we are, guys. A nice Kentucky geode, a nice flat one. The only one of the evening I'm going to throw over onto the pipe cutter here. Just because this show is more about showing you with the hammer and chisel, but now that you've seen that, I'll show you guys how much easier it is and how much better it is to use this here device instead. If I can get it to work with me. It wants to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Of course, when I'm working against the clock. Alright. Listen here. You stay right there. No. Right there. Sorry about that. So, if you've been here before, this is what the show normally looks like. This is where we're normally at. And this here is a much easier way of cracking these guys open. And gets you much better results. Look at that, nice clean crack there. This one was mostly solid, but pretty cool still. And I did not forget this guy here. We beat on for quite some time with that chisel. And we only got that little nub to pop off. I want to say we were working on this one for about 10 minutes with the chisel. Let me show you guys how much easier it's going to be on the pipe cutter. And it's going to be the last one of the night, guys. I'll go over and show off the collection a little bit. All right. All right, guys. This is the one that was being a little pain in the butt. And watch. Look how much simpler that was. And that's why we were having a hard time. I also have a wet tile saw. My reservations with using that are a lot of where I collect. I find a lot of secondaries. A lot of secondary minerals. Like this. I've got that beautiful barite growing in there. And imagine, you know, you can see it sticks above. If I just chop that with a saw, odds are that would not have stood up to that saw. That would have been gone. So I do have some that I cut, you know, under a certain size, you know, even something like this size. This isn't something I normally would try and, I wouldn't normally try and crack this one with a hammer and chisel. And very seldomly will I crack them with a pipe cutter. A lot of these ones I like to cut because even though they end up being solid, there's a lot of calcite out in the Indiana geodes. And there's a lot of banding that comes with it too. There's a lot of chalcedony. There's a lot of really pretty stuff that even though it's solid, if you take the time to clean it up and polish it, it can look really, really awesome. That being said, all right, 4%. So I've got a minute here. Let me see. Cammie, welcome to the show. Where do you find geodes in Kentucky? My geodes from Kentucky, I did not collect personally. There's a lot of places to collect. Mine come from the Green River. I'm not sure exactly where, but that's where they go. That's where my friend goes. What do you do with them after you open them? Kathy, if you're still there, I hope you are. Give me a second. Let me get this light turned around. And I will show you guys what I do with them after I crack them. A lot of them just get displayed. This is my favorite to collect is botryoidal chalcedony. And you can see there's a lot of different colors. I got the big guy back there. That one, this one I found whole and I cracked open. There you are. This is the other half of that one. All together, that one when it was whole was almost 29 pounds. And I cracked it. This is one that I kind of showed off, before. 2 halves of the same geode. 1 half was cleaned with iron out, 1 half was not. So just to show you the difference of what that's capable of. So in just a little sneak peek of what Saturday's show is going to have. Here's another really, really pretty piece of botryoidal chalcedony. I just love the colors. And I love how smooth it is. You know, I got some big chunkers, you know, and then I've got also what I call creek rescues. Like this one is really pretty, really sparkly. Found it in the creek like that. Probably won't mess with it. Just leave it like that. Elsa's hanging out. Anything botryoidal. Oh, yeah. Same here, but botryoidal chalcedony's got a special hold in my heart. This here is one of my favorites. The biggest and clearest crystal quartz points that I've found in an Indiana geode. One of my best friends, he's got the other half of that one with him at his house. Look at that. Mac and cheese hiding in there. Woo! A sock? Man. I'm sorry, guys. It's a work in progress. I have so much stuff. Here's a really, really awesome Geodes crinoid calyx. Love this one. One chamber is completely gone. But you can still see the 5 points kind of there. This one's cool. It's really sparkly. One of my favorites. Got some pretty deep cavities. Pardon the Dunkin' Donuts there. Tyler runs on Dunkin'. And yeah, just some really awesome stuff. Elsa on the shelf, right? Not a problem, Chris. It is... Oh, let me turn this light around. It is my pleasure. And I plan to get some more awesome content out to you guys. And you know what? If I keep having awesome people like the gentleman I talked about earlier sponsor me, you know, to go out and do collecting and things like that, you know, I can't control what somebody wants to do if they want to help out the show. But that got me a step closer to getting my next piece of equipment for polishing. And once I get that, I've got some shows in mind for polishing some things and taking you guys along for that. So, people keep you awesome, then that's going to come a little bit sooner. Cody, welcome to the show, man. I'm sorry you're just a little bit late catching me right at the end of it. Had a good time. Showed you guys a good way to crack with the hammer and chisel, opposed to just a hammer. Yeah, I can't wait. The polishing is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm almost there. Almost there, guys. So it's going to be some awesome content. Like I said earlier, if you guys didn't hear before, tonight was originally going to be cracking with a chisel and hammer and some cleaning stuff. But if you didn't hear, an awesome supporter decided to sponsor me for a collecting trip. So on Saturday, I'm going to be going and doing some collecting. And what I decided was a couple of geodes that I find then, I'm going to later that night, Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas. Oh, I rock. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Deborah. I'm glad you got to catch the show live, too. But yeah, Saturday. Saturday is going to have some awesome content. Like I said, it's going to be taking a geode from the beginning, showing you how I clean the outsides, cracking it open, and cleaning the inside. So we're going to have a couple of geodes that we watch the whole thing for, and that's going to be coming on Saturday, guys. Don't know for sure what time that's going to be. It might end up being around 7 Central Standard Time, but it's probably going to end up being 8 or 8:15 like normal. But until Saturday, guys, I hope everybody has an awesome Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope you guys learned something tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, share that video if you guys want. Not to give me any recognition. That's not what I'm after. Just because it's some useful information, guys. There's lots of questions I always see in the group. Everybody asks about, what's a great way to crack this open? What's a great way to crack this open? I hope I just showed a pretty good way to do it, you know, and I feel like I gave some really good pointers, and we got some really good results. So I hope that helps you guys. It was fun. I enjoyed doing it, and that's all that matters. Merry Christmas to you as well, Coco. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I will see you guys on Saturday for another awesome, awesome show, another bonus show. 3 shows this week, guys. 3 shows. It must be Christmas. It must be. Merry Christmas, everybody. Where can I get that Geode Cracker thing? Any hardware store is going to have it. Your best bet is going to go on eBay, something like that. It's called a chain soil pipe cutter. eBay is going to be your best friend for that because finding it used is going to be so much cheaper than buying it brand new. But that's up to you. If you have it in the budget, new is $500 to $600. Mine I got from my brother. He found it used for a little under $200. So thank you, guys. Everybody just tuning in. I'm sorry you guys are catching me at the end of the show, but the rebroadcast will be out there very soon. Tonight's show wasn't too terribly long, so it will not take too long to get back out there. Again, Merry Christmas, everybody. I will see everybody on Saturday after Christmas. I want to hear about everybody's favorite present, and I want to hear some awesome, awesome things from everybody's holidays. Until then, guys, Merry Christmas, and I will see you on the page until then. Have a great night, guys.